The coronavirus biggest threat, the coronavirus devastating impact, the coronavirus no health service could possibly cope.
Come on over to Carnival. We hope you're ready for the show. Who's gonna kill you?
We are recording now. Are you happy with your framing?
Let me just try something.
You sat on the floor.
Yeah. How's that? It's better without the light behind, isn't it?
Yeah.
I decided to run with the idea of the Carnival Ball this year because it had a sort of like Halloween horror kind of theme, a dark, twisted, macabre headspace. And last year was the Atlantis Ball, and it was very light and fluffy and very beautiful and well portrayed as far as like costumes are concerned. And I just thought it would be quite nice to go somewhere a little bit dark, considering the dark times we're actually going through.
This is life in your face.
Do you know what love is? Yeah. Yeah. I want you to turn to your neighbor and ask. Do you know what love is?
Creatively, we kind of found pathways to deal with it. We did Zoom classes on a weekend, and we kind of we didn't get together, we kind of created a little vision for a little music video and stuff. So at the first part, it was very hard, but we found pathways. But now this second lockdown, it's just another turn in the road, as people say. Yeah, I don't think that's the saying. It's just another bump in the road.
I mean, since March, Darren and I have spent quite a lot of time together, you know, drinking gin on the step and just getting creative and thinking about things and, you know, all that kind of thing. I've created a garden. I painted the bathroom after 20 years. I took it as a time to just reflect and enjoy the time and not expect too much.
I live on my own, and I've also just been made redundant by work. So lockdown's definitely been difficult just because not obviously having like the social support. I don't speak to any of my family, so my bubble is the ball. I live very close to Darren and Gordon, so we go out for walks and see each other as much as we can. But lockdown has, basically just been draining mentally. Seeing my house has helped me get through that. It's stopped me obviously falling into any hole pits or anything along the way. Also, we're working towards a show that's going to obviously then pass that same energy on to everybody else. So yeah, it's been really nice.
It was the right decision because I thought it would help artists and houses to manifest and redirect that negativity that's probably running through their minds and put it through a narrative, something that can be performed and expelled in a space as opposed to festering on it. Lockdown's been a roller coaster, and it just seems to be making me ill as far as like my headspace is concerned. The beginning part of it was sort of tangible. I was able to sort of lock down and get my head around stuff and reflect. And then we had an easy unlock. And now we've gone back into it again. I don't think it's as easy this time round. I just feel like there doesn't seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel sometimes.
We're entering a new and crucial phase against coronavirus and deaths rising. We must act now. We are today toughening local rules in England. Local authorities in the Liverpool city region will move to the very high alert level.
Some of them men think we freak this like we do, but no they don't. That was actually really good. Do it again. I know.
A lot of my dancers have said like I really needed to do the Vogue Ball right now. So like we had our rehearsal at the weekend and so many of them have just been like, this is what I needed. I'm so happy that I'm doing this. Like, we really need this. And I think Liverpool needs it as well. I think it'll be that kind of boost of morale for everyone. Audience, people seeing the photos afterwards, I think it's going to do really, really good things for Liverpool. Obviously, with the restrictions changing so frequently and so drastically, you know, it's obviously affected how many we can have in a house, which has been quite hard. It's affected how we can rehearse. Obviously, with the new social distancing measures, we've had to be a lot more strict on there can't be any contact in rehearsals. There can't be any, you know, we've been trying to wear masks and hand sanitize, which is so hard when you're trying to create a dance piece. But it's been a fun challenge because, you know, it's different things, different hurdles that we've now got across that we wouldn't ever have had to have crossed before. So it's kind of giving us more of a challenge. It's also forcing us to be more creative because we've got to kind of go over those hurdles. So it's been a really nice challenge, actually.
Before we started looking at the restrictions and stuff, what became more apparent is that the arts were starting to struggle and artists were losing their identity and their voice. And I felt I was losing my voice a little bit, considering I'm a creative.
We're all singing from the same sheet. The doors are open at 7 o'clock.
A decent reputation in the city, and I do some pretty good work that I'm proud of. And the ball is a statement. And then when I looked at what that statement stood for, it was an inclusive space for people to feel safe. And that's where it's been from the beginning. So I wanted to make sure that that message was sent. If we've got to create a COVID safe space, we've already got a safe space, we just make sure we adhere to those restrictions. And what I've found now is that people are wanting to do the ball because they miss just being part of something. They miss being part of a family of creatives, or whether it's dance, music, singing, whatever that creative outlet is, people are struggling to find it.
Now, for me, I'm the only one in the House of Crochet, but I'm a part of the House of Suarez. So since this lockdown, I haven't been able to travel, so I can see Darren and the other guys, or just come together. But for me, it would be nicer if I could come over and just practice with the other guys, so we can make a show or something. And if I get the opportunity to go to Liverpool, I will go. Even if I have to do the ball by myself again. So that has changed everything. It's a main event for me every year, so it's something I'm looking up to and looking forward every year, so I can just be with my family, my Vogue Ball family.
When we got to Tier 2, we already knew our guidelines. I've been working very, very, very closely with Culture Liverpool, who I'm choreographer for, and I was working along their guidelines about how this performance could go on. And what we decided to do was give the opportunity to some veteran houses that have been part of the ball, so they know the process already, and they'll understand the changes, and they'll be able to connect more because they've been working with me for so many years. When it got to Tier 3, I think we sensed a blanket of fear because people were like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
And I know the rules have become complicated and confusing. We are simplifying the rules. You must not meet in groups of more than 6, and if you do, you will be breaking the law.
All the dancers are going to have to be socially aware and distanced, which is great for me, because if no one's throwing people around or contacting them, I can go a little bit further with costume. You know what I mean? So that's great. I've also created some PP masks for people on production. So I've done these little, I've made some masks.
First of all, I want to say, damn you, Boris. We started choreographing and everything was very close and touching, and like all of that extraness. But now, because Darren actually rang me and he was like, yeah, all these regulations, I was like, pressure, absolute pressure, because like now we have to keep like, is it a meter apart in the group pieces and like 2 meters for the battles? So it's just working that on a 2 meter stage that's 8 meters long is absolutely terrible, you know? We started up with like a totally different concept as to what we have now. Like it's totally changed, but but we're hoping it comes together. Like it's getting there. It's getting there. We have a few more rehearsals, so we'll see what happens.
Normally there's around 10 in the house, isn't there? So normally if we're in the studio, everyone who wanted to audition could audition in front of Darren in his house. Everything's been pushed back for us. Normally we audition for it at the end of May whilst we're in the studio at LIPA. But obviously because we weren't in the studio, we couldn't audition then until, I don't know, middle of July. And we had to send in video auditions to Darren and House of Suarez for them to pick us. So that was completely different, having to Vogue in my kitchen at home and trying to send in a video. And then we all got chosen and then couldn't start rehearsing until obviously we got back in the studio and it was safe. We had to tell them our height as well so they could try and see if that made any difference. But in terms of cutting people, he knew from then on that he had to have 6. So we haven't lost anyone, it's just people weren't allowed in the house for the first place and he just had to be more critical of who was going to be in the house. The main restriction that stopped me and I was worried when Darren told me was the 1 meter rule. I had basically choreographed the whole of the group, and because we've got a boy in our group and he is a strong lifter and we've got a lot of diddy girls who can get flung about, especially for the group, and with Pennywise I wanted a lot of big lifts, which once again straight away had to be taken out. All formations were redone, and that's still something we're drilling now to try and keep 1 meter throughout the whole thing, but still obviously make sense of the storyline without being able to touch each other.
I did want a small house this year, so that didn't really affect it, but we did finish our piece before the restrictions came into place. I love lifts and partner work and things, so when it come to it that I found out it had to be changed, I've had to change basically every single bit of the piece. Every section's changed. Yeah. At least one bit in every single bit of choreo was changed, yeah. I feel like this ball would be important to prove that, obviously with everything that's going on this year, that a ball can still be fight through and go ahead.
Say if we're performing on stage, we can't really be next to each other, so that's a benefactor we've had to think about. We've had to think about pathways of people coming on stage, off stage, about people mixing behind stage, staying in our own bubble. People, it's completely turned into a different ball, but it's still going to be the ball that everyone wants to see as performance-wise. Still, the whole talent just mould into one, still going to be there, it's just without the fun and debauchery.
Do I hear a Colosseum moment coming on? You're about to see 2 fierce bitches fighting it out for your entertainment. Thumbs up or thumbs down, who knows? Oh, okay, the chairs were not aesthetic and are being replaced. It's a rolling thing. We're improving as we go. Boris, take notes. Take motherfucking notes.
The guidelines are there to protect us, so we're very, very happy just to adhere to those. And we've got a team of 10 people. In House of Suarez, I call them the COVID Mafia. We're going to make sure that everyone is in place, everyone is abiding by the rules. We'll have a couple of people front of house, because what we've had to do this time as well is seat all the audience. So we've got 100 people, the lucky people who are going to come, and they're going to be in their either support bubble or they're going to be in their family. We've got little tables of 3, and we've kept it to a bare minimum, so we've got social distancing in place. We've got temperature readings as soon as they walk in. There's a disclaimer. people to sign to confirm that they're actually from the same household. I think it'll be one of the few events that people have been able to manage to get to this year. So I think there'll be a lot of love in the room and a lot of respect, I think, for the artists because of what they've been going through as well. By doing this, it also shows that Liverpool as a city has the capability to still do and get involved in the arts under the safest umbrella and environment. And I think that's really important going forward with this pandemic. We're all wishing for 2020 out the way, but when it comes, it's still going to be in 2021, and we've got to start problem solving how we move forward with that. And I think if we create a brilliant model from this, we can smash it and start developing that throughout the year.
On the beach, you're twerking.